So look, Sean, I think every time I talk to a client about the new standard, the first thing they want to know is what's everyone else doing? No one wants to be an outlier. People are probably a bit nervous about being a first mover on making calls on certain things. And so I think one of the things that I just wanted to highlight is, look, there are a lot of early adopters out there. There's also a lot of companies who have actually issued separate press releases or analyst and investor briefing packs and presentations, webcasts, to really talk to their investors about what these standards actually mean and what the impacts may be. And so I've just put some examples on the slide for people just to take note of. You know, many of these you'll say, well, they are American companies, but again, the standards are the same. And so they are very useful to still look at if they have a difference and you don't, does that actually make sense? And can you reconcile why you're having a different outcome? So I would just encourage companies, you know, when they are finalizing their assessments or doing their research, that they think about who their peers are around the world. Have a look at their disclosures, have a look at lots of the industry guidance and thinking that's already been done, just to make sure that what you're finding stacks up. Another thing I would, or I just thought was interesting is, you know, if you do a bit of research on this, again, in the US, there's some pretty big headlines coming out of the US. And again, it's interesting to see attention on it as compared to perhaps what we're seeing in Australia. You know, but there's big name companies, so Uber, for example, you know, is being reported their revenues will be cut in half. And, you know, I do hear companies tell me time and time again that, you know, the principal agency guidance, well, it looks the same as what it was before, but actually it's quite different. And this is a clear indication of that. So, you know, Uber, for example, used to consider you and me their customer when we get in a car and for transport. And actually what they're saying is, no, actually we're just an agent and we facilitate connecting the customer with the driver. And so they're now just recognizing a commission. Amazon had similar changes. You know, they used to consider you and me their customer when we buy something on Amazon, but now for part of their business, they're saying actually the retailer is my customer. So really some simple things, just as identifying who your customer is actually proving quite challenging. I think Amazon also had just some interesting changes with gift cards, which again doesn't seem like an area we should necessarily have a change, but when companies are getting into the details, they are actually finding some areas that they need to focus on.